Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Alfonso Kusinero for Alfonso Kusinero Podcast, episode number 3. And today we're going straight to the topic. If the first two episodes we tackled, the very first one we tackled the latest fads and issues in the hospitality and tourism industry. The second one, we also touched on the topic of jobs and professions after graduating from the university. Now we are going to tackle on our episode number 3 the role of social media in tourism and hospitality industry. And as we all know, social media has been very famous in the Philippines for the past 10 years or maybe even more than that. It started with the use of Friendster. I remember it was very famous back then, and during those times the Philippines was actually acknowledged as the internet capital of the world, and also the social media capital of the world, having the most number of users in social media. So right now we're going to tackle on the issue of social media on the industry, on the hospitality and tourism industry. Is it really helping in the development and the sustainability of tourism and hospitality industry, or is it the one causing problems nowadays? And let me say sorry for being in hiatus for the past months or so, because I was really busy with work, and I actually focused on my YouTube channel now. If you have time, you can visit my YouTube channel at Alfonso Kusinero Videos on YouTube. You can just search in the type in the search bar Alfonso Kusinero Videos, and you will find there some of the videos I made for that channel. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started with our topic for tonight. You know, the last decade has seen a very important or significant increase in the use of both social media and the general development of new technology worldwide. The tourism and hospitality industry has seen a very impressive development since the beginning. Although over the past few years, due to some problems, people really started to cut down on vacations, and sales have decreased. This was before, okay, this was like 5 or 8 years ago. It led to lower revenue, of course, lower payoffs, and decreasing work segments. But now, or today, the industry is on the rise again. As you know, locally in the Philippines, tourism is one of the most successful industry. In fact, when the Department of Tourism Secretary Berna Romulo Puyat started her role as the new secretary of the department, it really led to a booming start in the Department of Tourism, local Department of Tourism in the Philippines, and yes, it is on the rise again and has changed dramatically with the overwhelming appearance of social media platforms creating new opportunities to rise and attract new customers through, facilitated communication, and it empowers guests as well. It makes it more interactive. It gives a platform for guests to interact with the business establishment itself. And of course, with an effect something like that, it can only be seen as something positive for the industry, the tourism and hospitality industry, as nowadays it has so much to offer. I was actually a guest speaker at a seminar last week, and it involves entrepreneurship students from the City College of Lucena, and I tackled there the modern jobs of this generation. I was telling them, this generation has limitless or seamless opportunities nowadays, and in fact, it offers so many jobs to so many people that laziness has no role or no place in the world right now. And yes, until now, everything is on the rise for modernization, and it provides a way to increase profits for everyone. But nevertheless, one of the most essential problems that service providers have encountered is how to engage in social media marketing, or what we called SMM. It's actually one of the new jobs now, one of the hottest jobs, I mean, nowadays, social media marketing or being a social media manager. How do you validate whether it is profitable for a business to use social media or not? Because as you know, it is in fact right there in the social media itself. You can just click the button and you can advertise it yourself. Now, how one realizes the importance of social media to an organization, how one can make use of social media for business in order for it to be accepted by the community while enhancing the brand, and lastly, how one measures the value of the accomplished efforts. Everybody is talking about social media nowadays. Everything is in social media now. Everything. I mean, people are in social media, business are in social media, celebrities are in social media. There are so many influencers in social media. We're going to have to tackle that in a different episode, because it is another hot issue nowadays, the influencers in social media. But really, as for example, as business owner, or as someone who is just establishing a new business, how do you foresee whether social media has a good return or investment, or what we call ROI, in the hospitality and tourism industry? The return on investment, or return of investment, is very important, because with that we measure how long the business can sustain itself. And as a businessman or a stakeholder, the question in your mind, of course, is how do stakeholders in the tourism and hospitality industry measure the success of social media in their own businesses? So let's tackle that, and how effective really social media is in the tourism and hospitality industry. Okay, for example, we have here a study of Berkowitz. In 2009, he has put together a list of 100 ways to measure social media. It would facilitate things and no research would be necessary on the topic. But eventually, he concludes as follows. Ultimately, you need to start figuring out your business objectives and then apply these metrics accordingly. The idea is, of course, that each business has different goals that needs to be defined before putting a plan into action. Of course, we all know as part of the tourism and hospitality industry and as an entrepreneur, we have different goals at the end of the day. There are businessmen who are more focused on their return of investment. There are businessmen who are focused on their advocacy on helping other people, and there are those who really are very keen into putting more jobs in the table. I mean, of course, as a business owner, your mindset has always to be to earn something for the future. You know, you're always thinking about the future. The need to know what problem you need to solve. You need not to do anything in social media if it doesn't add value. You can't manage what you can measure, so we should really set a measurable goal. And of course, nowadays, the tourism industry have very high expectation from the internet or of the internet from the outset of it. Tourism as an intangible service product is perfectly adaptable for electronic data transfer. All of our travel agents, all of our tour operators, they use online travel communities and online ticketing as what we call it. Online ticket sales were said to have a bright future due to the fact that the presentation of necessary information for purchasing products on the internet is easy nowadays, and the cost for a daily updates are comparatively low. So when you talk about the role of social media and the internet in the tourism industry, the very first ones who are benefiting from all of these are the ones that we call the travel agents and the tour operators. And of course, with them, it is a good way to start a social media marketing strategy. They really have to clearly lay out their goals and success metrics before launching, and to know your social media audience and tailor content appropriately. We have to know also that social media has to be transparent to achieve higher credibility for the brand. But the problem with this is this might also highlight what the brand is claiming to offer, what is inconsistent with the actual service offered by the company. An example for this are big companies like, of course, TripAdvisor, Traveloka. They are the ones who were the very first in the tourism industry who had websites that customers go to before deciding between a wide range of products and services. Brand owners should take great care of these kind of websites because, as you know, when you go to those websites, most of their partners or even the website itself has full of bad mouthing, you know. And as you know, word of mouth in the business sector is not good for any business, and a bad word of mouth that may arise is also a sign of an unsatisfied clients or customers, and therefore one should improve their brand image. So usually social media managers role, or the role of the social media manager, is to clearly define their goals, markets, and target prospects. Because if you want a stronger brand, you have to carefully concentrate and study on the right content on what you're going to put in social media. Social media really can help a business have greater outreach to their customers, but on the other hand, it reduces face-to-face interaction as well. It can really facilitate communication, but sometimes it can also be overwhelming due to the high amount of information available out there. But now, really, the question is, should one business or part of the tourism and hospitality industry use social media as a strategy for their business? They really have to focus on showcasing, and there are really factors to consider before dipping into that hot water, as they say. They should really showcase and strengthen their brand through social media. Let the people know what is your brand and what service you are providing. Social media is an amazing way to tell everyone what you stand for, since you really control the content, and you actually build your own image for your brand. So if you're a hotel, are you luxury? Are you affordable? Are you high class? Are you relaxed? Or are you one of those Airbnbs? It is really you who creates your own identity. So make sure you display the brand through photos, videos, audios. There's so much marketing strategies that you can do to showcase and strengthen your brand. Number two, we have to really create a realistic expectation. This is how we justify each price. Some people might say, oh, this hotel or this resort is very pricey, I'm not going to check in with this hotel anymore. But really, what sets you apart from the other brand, even if you are expensive, is the service that you provide. This is how you justify your price. Why are we paying so much money? It's because this is a luxury. You are providing a luxury service to us. So if you really showcase extravagant amenities or facilities, and you offer really great choices for your customers, they will really keep coming back. Otherwise, if you are offering a budget-friendly option for travelers, show them what they got too. I mean, you really have to have so much choices nowadays, because as I've said earlier, everything is limitless. Everything is or everybody has a choice nowadays, right? Okay, now the next one is, you should really form and strengthen our relationship with our audience. We connect with our social media audience because it may be one of the biggest benefits for our establishments. If you put the right content that uh, gives the audience or gives your customers an impression that they see are really connecting to them or is click with them, they'll have no other choice but to book your product or your services. Now, the one of the most important ones is to reach new customers. Nowadays, there are billions of users worldwide of these social media platforms. For example, Facebook has 2 billion or even more users worldwide nowadays. Now, Instagram has 700 million monthly users, and I think even more in the future. And Twitter has 328 million monthly followers. So basically, there are bound to be people that fit your target audience, and you can set up ads targeting specific ages, genders, locations, and and any other demographics to match the type of customer that you are really looking for. Giving value also to your audience will show them the benefits they will get from all the features of the products or services that you are offering. The benefits are what will make them stay with you and connect with you until the end. If you say you have a central location, that doesn't describe the perk for your guests. On the other hand, if you describe it as like for example, it's really close to them, from a concert venue, a theme park, or popular places such as restaurants or hotels, they can truly see why they will benefit from staying at your establishment if you are a hotel or a resort. And that's giving value to them. Another great reason why it's important to have various social media account is that your establishment should not be left behind when it comes to modern technology. And of course, we know modern technology plays a vital role in the promotion and development of one's products or services nowadays. By contributing a public face for your establishment, you are telling the whole world that you are keeping up to date with social media, and they can expect the same from your establishment. Now, you can also provide a voice for them. A great aspect or a great factor of social media is that you can respond to comments in real time. If someone says that they can wait for their vacation to swim in your pool, it's a good idea to really like their post and respond with an equally enthusiastic response. You can even put another picture to make them more excited. And as we know, excitement is good for customers. It's also good for business in the tourism and hospitality industry. So really, there is no denying that social media can be both a curse and a blessing to your establishment. There are numerous, or there are variety of stories out there of what can go wrong, but there are also success stories using social media as a platform for your marketing strategy. So what's my opinion on using social media in the hospitality and tourism industry? I think the time has really come for businesses inside the tourism and hospitality industry to start creating alternatives. And what I say with alternatives is that social media provides so many alternatives for these business owners, because within the community in social media, we often find what we call influencers, brand advocates, and fans. And all of these people, they really serve a good purpose for your establishment within the social community. The tourism and hospitality industry need to start collaborating with people within that community as well, because it would be an opportunity for them to leverage their ability or their ways to voice out their message to their customers or to their guests or to their audience. It is very essential to understand that the real return of investment of social media lies in understanding and in making strategies that support these process. Beyond those points, social media will really help you in terms of listening, responding, measuring, rewarding, and changing your brand face. And with a new face comes a good value. And with a start of something new, I think really the tourism and hospitality industry is prepared for a great collaboration with social media nowadays. So for me, I think the use of social media is good as long as there is a limit to it. Everything has to have a limit, as we all know. Okay, so that ends our episode number 3 podcast for Alfonso Kusinero podcast. And again, this week we discussed the topic of social media on the tourism, on the hospitality industry. I hope that it won't take long for me to record another podcast for everyone. But I really do hope that you continue listening to my podcast. Again, this has been Alfonso Kusinero for Alfonso Kusinero Podcast. Again, check out all my social media platforms. It's Alfonso Kusinero on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter, and Alfonso Kusinero videos on YouTube. So with that, this ends our episode number 3 podcast.